Welcome, everybody. It's time for the Brian and Ryan Show. Woo-hoo.
And we do like we have like a synced intro, like and like Terminator,
Like a scent. Oh yeah. Dun 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 dun. I'm Brian. Dun 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 dun, and that's Ryan. Dun 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 dun. And this is our show. Dun 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 dun.
Also, we're butt naked,
back.
and we're like doing like the Terminator thing, like where you're butt naked. We just got sent in.
Whoa. Are you asking me to strip naked on the? Is that what we're gonna do the intro? Does it be my butt in the picture?
If we're gonna do a Terminator intro, then we got to do the full Terminator intro.
Is that what you're calling it? The full Terminator? Listen, last time I went full Terminator, I ended up in jail for drunk and disorderly.
The full Terminator.
The full Terminator.
Anyway.
All right. Well, if you'd like me and Ryan to go full Terminator, just let us know. As always, this is a show for the people. So if that's what the people want, that's what the people will get.
Enough money, Brian and I will do it. So,
hey, forget money. Give me enough thumbs up. Give me those little like buttons.
Yeah.
Those are valuable, right?
My wife pays me a lot anyway. So.
Oh man. Anyway, what's up, man? It's been what's it been, about a month and a half?
Yeah, it's been about a month. Nothing's really happened in the last month.
Yeah, what are you talking about? We literally survived an insurrection, almost the fall of democracy.
Yes. If you wanna do that, I mean, we did just kind of have like a whole new political change.
We survived New Year's, which I half expected a nuclear bomb to fall out of the sky. Or Godzilla to rise up out of the ocean. Which, by the way, we're going to talk about the Godzilla and King Kong trailer. Don't let me forget. Because that shit was fire!
The week of January 3rd through the 10th, I was literally just like on edge every day.
Yeah. This month, and welcome everybody. It's good to see everybody, even though it's just me and Ryan. Sorry we've been gone for so long. The year that was 2020... felt like we were stuck in a time loop. I feel like we have that like hangover from 2020, and we're still kind of stuck in a weird time loop. But anyway, thanks for joining us. We're gonna have a fun show today, hopefully. But I'm gonna preface I'm gonna say in advance, since I can't speak the Lord's English, that me and Ryan are gonna talk about a little bit about politics today. And we were very, very happy with the result of the last election. So while we are not going to spend an hour trashing Donald J. Trump, let's just say that we don't like him very much, and this is not a pro-Trump podcast.
Yeah, we honestly don't care about what ex-presidents do. So
yeah, we don't care about people who lose. They're like losers. Like you could say he's a loser because he lost. So I don't care what losers are doing on their golf course.
Could very well be getting evicted from Mar-a-Lago.
God, I hope so, but anyway, this is your warning. If you like me and Ryan and you love Donald Trump, well, that's your choice. But we are not going to talk favorably about him. But this is not going to be an entire podcast about politics. However, why do we keep calling it a podcast anyway? When's the last time you fucking uploaded anything into podcast form?
I would take that up with our good friend X.
Oh my God! You're going to pass the buck on this. You had one job, Ryan.
Because the way I used to do it, I had to post on that old, what was it, Pod Hell or something. Yeah. Make a post on the website in order for it to go to the feed burner that would then go to the iTunes. So I'm trying to figure out how to.
I am slowly dying inside listening to you explain this. Remember in Thor Ragnarok? Remember when they had who was the guy who had his guns? Scourge. Remember when Scourge was supposed to let Loki know when Thor arrived?
Yeah.
And then he didn't? And then he was like, you had one job? Well, you are Scourge in this scenario.
At least he had two really cool guns.
He had two guns. You do not have two guns. You have two finger guns. But you failed in your position and you were fired immediately. Anyway, so on this show, because it's not a podcast, on this show, we're not going to spend the entire time talking about politics. But me and Ryan are very ecstatic that we have switched to a new regime. There was an effort to destroy our democracy that we all watched on live TV, which I
was working, and then I came downstairs and the family was washing all the stuff, and then all of a sudden I hear the family screaming, and then I came downstairs and they're like, "Yeah, this it's not going well."
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into too serious. I know we kind of like to keep the show light and jokey, but I was fucking furious watching that. Like, my blood was boiling watching a bunch of trailer park rejects storm our freaking beloved capital. I'm like, democracy may fall one day, but it is not going to fall to an idiot in a bison hat. No.
Yeah.
But anyway, that happened.
Did not do good for my mental health for that week. But we got through it like we're.
You know what's crazy? Yeah. You know what's crazy? It's been just a tiny bit over a month since we last recorded, but it feels like 9 years.
Yeah. I think you said it perfectly in our group chat that it feels like a giant Cheeto has been lifted off of my chest.
Yeah, a giant orange Cheeto has finally been lifted off our chest. However, we still have the greasy aftermath. Just
just dusting. Just
clean
dust
off.
Wipe
it's
off.
like,
and then
it's like, you ever find like a Cheeto that's been sitting in a couch that's kind of like half melted from like butt sweat? But it'd be the size of a giant ex-president. That's what was on our chest, and we have lifted that off. And we're still dealing with it.
Side question. Regular Cheetos, Flaming Hot Cheetos, Cheetos Puffs. Are there any other kind? Jalapeno Cheetos.
Well, I can't do any of the flavored ones. I just like, my favorite are crunchy Cheetos.
I like the Cheetos Puffs. Even though, like, you buy the bag, and you're only getting, like, 10 Cheetos because they're so big. And they only fill like half the bag up. But
I like the Puffs, but the problem is when you eat them all, they like get stuck up in your gums and they get wedged in your teeth, and then you're like,
I put them in my mouth and then I just let it melt to my mouth.
Oh, tell me more.
And then I put them in. And then
do you put them in slowly, or do you? What's your technique for sticking all the Cheetos in your mouth? So many.
Well, I put 2 in at the same time.
Oh man!
On each side, I look like a walrus.
Oh boy!
And then I kind of chomp down on it.
That is disgusting and very arousing all at the same time. I don't even know how that's possible, but I'll take it. Fucking take it. Would you like some chapstick?
Although I did have to stop eating Cheetos because I gained a little bit of weight over the holidays.
Dude, this COVID, they always talk about the freshman, like, 15. We should call this the COVID-19. Because, that was a bad pun. Because I think I put on at least 20 pounds over the holidays. So I've been officially 4 weeks into my diet. I'm down like 12 pounds, so that's good. But, man, it sucks. I never realized how much I'm, like, healing my soul through this whole thing by eating things that are terrible for me. Like ice cream and cookies. And I'm like, God, democracy sucks right now. Cookie dough.
We would get like chips and stuff, and then I would just like plow through a bag of chips. Or my wife, like, Cheez-Its are my favorite, and I would literally just open up. And she'd go to Costco, and get like the big box, so I'd have like the giant bag of Cheez-It.
Oh,
I would just put the bag on my chest.
All right, what's your favorite flavor of Cheez-Its?
Just normal, regular Cheez-Its.
You're a heathen. You're a Neanderthal. White cheddar. Everyone knows white cheddar, big or burnt. Those are the 3 best kinds, and I'll hear nothing else.
You're incredibly wrong, and you obviously have no class.
No class. You like cardboard cheese flavored pieces of burnt cracker.
No, I think we need to move on, or we're going to have to destroy this friendship.
Whatever. I think this friendship's already been destroyed. All right, whatever. Do we want to talk anything else about the president, our new president? Can I just say that I feel like I have PTSD because I feel like every day I wake up, first thing I do is I look at my phone. I didn't used to do that. But once Trump became president, every day you look and you're like, oh God, what did this horrible human being do this time? Yeah. And you have to look. And now it's just like, I grab my phone and there's no breaking news. President has electrocuted small children for no reason whatsoever.
Have you noticed on Twitter, it's like there's more fun stuff?
Oh, there's still lots of people who think who think President Trump is actually still in the White House, which is crazy.
My wife was telling me about that one. That's the one that they're saying that
the inauguration was a deep fake.
Trump is the shadow president.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
And that the insurrection actually worked.
Yes, and that the inauguration was a deep fake.
Yeah. Those people are freaking loonies, and I have to be honest that it did like ensnare some of my family members.
Well, let's just be thankful that we live in a country that because of old bullshit slave rules, we have the filibuster and we have disproportionate power to states that have no people in them. So a handful of QAnon lunatics can now somehow hold office in Congress. It's great. It's great.
It doesn't help that we have two people that are supposed to be on our side who still are for the filibuster. So
we're getting rid of that goddamn filibuster. But that's a topic for another show. Anyway, I'm just happy. I'm just happy that we have a person who is trying to do so. It's nice to have people, as much as this pandemic has sucked, and like hearing, oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna all have to wear masks till probably next year. Yeah, that sucks. But I'd rather have the truth, right? It's nice to have the truth. It's nice to have Fauci get up there and say, listen, we're way behind. We're worried about the variants. Shit's bad. Wear your mask. We're going to try and give vaccines to everybody. Here we go. But it's nice because you actually have real information.
And honestly...
And not drink bleach.
I don't get to go out very often, but wearing a mask has not impeded me on doing anything that I normally would have done when I was out.
Well, and we here in Washington, man, we got that new UK version running amok out here, so I just upgraded.
We just had our first confirmed case in my county.
Yeah, so my work offers N95s. I actually bought some of my own, but my work gave me some more, so I've upgraded my mask to a non-medical one because we don't want to take away ones from doctors, but they're the KN95s that you can wear about. So
yeah. I'm never going to leave my house.
Well, I don't have a choice. I've been essential, aka expendable personnel since last March. So yeah, still doing my thing, but whatever. So anyway, if you're stuck at home like Ryan, hopefully this show will bring you a little bit of happiness. So we're going to move on to funner things and happier things. Like, what fun things have you been doing since last Christmas? What has happened? Besides Christmas. Dude, the end of Mandalorian. We never got to talk about the end of Mandalorian. I had a million people blow me up about the end. So if you have not watched Season 2 of Mandalorian, for the next couple of minutes, we are going to spoil the shit out of a couple things. So you've been warned. But, yeah.
So
holy shit!
Let's see, where did we leave off? Did we leave off on Ahsoka?
So I think the last time me and you were, I think it was Ahsoka's last time we talked, and then I think we knew Baby Grogu, well, he's not really a baby anymore. Grogu needed to call a Jedi, and so the whole time I kept thinking, like, narratively speaking, I think I know where this is going. It only makes sense for Luke Skywalker to be the Jedi that shows up to grab Grogu.
But the question was, how are they going to try and pull that off?
Well, the question isn't even how. Would they? Would they actually interject Luke fucking Skywalker into The Mandalorian? And I'm telling you, episode 9, it was 9, the final. I'm sitting there, I'm getting texts all day. People are like, have you seen this yet? Have you seen this yet? And I'm like, no, I knew it was going to be a big one, but I'm like, no, I haven't seen it. Don't tell me anything.
Yeah. So I remember I watched it like 6 hours before you because my son begged me to watch it in like the middle of the day.
Full disclaimer.
For Brian to get done.
Luke Skywalker was my hero, like a lot of dudes in their 40s, because that was the guy when we were kids, and Luke Skywalker was my guy. Mind you, I actually really enjoyed The Last Jedi, as I've said multiple times on this, so this is not like I want my real Luke Skywalker to show up. No. But I just thought it'd be really cool if he did, because it's the right time. He's trying to rebuild the Jedi Order. It would make sense that he would show up if a real powerful freaking Force user sent out a Sith flare, a giant space flare. He would be the one to show up. And so,
what do you think about that? He just sits down on the thing, and it just like starts.
Dude, that was so cool.
And then that whole fight scene where they're just mowing.
Dude, that was directed by Robert Rodriguez, who directed Desperado and Dusk Till Dawn. Mm-hmm. And apparently, he's going to be the new showrunner for the Boba Fett show. Okay,
so is it going to be? So my son and I were trying to. It's going to be a separate show. It's not going to be like
So if anybody finished Mandalorian but didn't watch through the credits, there was a 2-minute little stinger, basically Boba Fett going back to Jabba's palace, blasting poor Bib Fortuna, who put on a few pounds. He got just smoked by Boba Fett, and it ends with Boba Fett sitting on Jabba's throne. And then it says, coming soon, the Book of Boba, right? So there's a lot of confusion whether that was Season 3 of The Mandalorian was going to just be about Boba Fett. Maybe they were going to kind of do a little bit of an anthology going forward. But Jon Favreau confirmed that no, Book of Boba Fett right now is already shooting. It is going to be the next series that we see on Disney+. So it's going to take The Mandalorian's normal fall, winter time slot for this year. Mandalorian Season 3 is going to start shooting, I think, till April. So we'll probably get it... Takes about a year, so we'll probably get it spring of 2022 for Season 3 of Mandalorian, which isn't really surprising. If you take in the COVID stuff, I mean, Disney's done a pretty good job with their Star Wars sets because they're enclosed. There's not a lot of people on set. They've been able to work around that. They're not going to locations because of their, what do they call that thing? That big, huge sound stage they use. They call it the... I don't remember.
I don't know which one.
Anyway, it's got a name. It's all these big LED screens, so there are LCD screens, so they're able to change the scenery in the studio, so they don't have to film on location. So they're kind of able to work around COVID.
I took them. They're just
the volume. It's called the volume. But anyway, not just that. Like Mandalorian Season 2, the money, you could tell they dumped way more money because everything about that season was bigger. The monsters were bigger. The storylines were bigger. Everything was bigger.
Every single episode has movie quality.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably talking upwards of $20 million an episode.
Oh yeah, and the first season it wasn't cheap by any means. I think they spent $100 million, and it didn't look cheap. It's just like the final episode of Mandalorian Season 1 was like a movie. That's the way every single episode was this go around. I mean, like, we got the Krayt dragons from this first one from Tatooine. You know, that thing looked like Dune. I was like, oh, I'm watching Dune. I'm like, whoever made Dune is sitting at home going, goddamn Disney. Like, it looks like a giant sandworm. It was amazing. So
my other concern is that what are they going to do on Season 3 now that Grogu? Are they going to do a time jump?
So my guess is Mandalorian was always going to end up telling the story of kind of the rebirth of Mandalore, which is kind of the thread that they ran through. You know, they talk about they show the fall of Mandalore in Clone Wars. They talk about the aftermath of the kind of the dark days of Mandalore and Rebels. My guess was they were going to kind of continue that through line and maybe have the rebirth of Mandalore in Mandalorian. I mean, that seems kind of the logical next step. I think Grogu will be gone for a while. I can't imagine that little Yoda is a cash cow. It's green because it's made of money, and Disney is just writing Grogu checks.
Can you think of any other Disney, like just a singular character that has been as big as a cash cow as Grogu has?
R2?
It's like not. Or something.
R2, maybe Vader. Like, Grogu's in the top 3 moneymakers for Disney, and he's only been around for like a year and a half.
I can't tell you how many we have. We got the plushie toy.
Oh, dude.
And we got like a giant like pillow thing that my daughter sleeps with.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I have a plush. I have an animatronic. I have no less than 5 Grogu shirts. I have Legos. I have Funko Pops. I'm looking at them right now. I've got action figures. I've got Grogu sleeping pants.
I kind of want Grogu sleeping pants.
Dude, they're fleece, and they got a little Grogu drinking his little coffee. They're amazing. I wear them and make people jealous. It's so good. But yeah, I mean, dude, so he'll be back. But anyway, we totally freaking jumped the story here. So Season 2, Mandalorian finale. When that fucking X-Wing shows up, I mean, first of all, that episode on its own, you don't have Luke Skywalker in it at all. That is still one of the best episodes of Mandalorian. It is so good.
Before we get to that, though.
Yes.
When the X-Wing's showing up and the lead up of all, like, here's all the badass soldiers that they're not going to be able to hold them. Like, they were
robots, when they're pounding on the wall.
They fought one and just barely survived, and now there's like 200 of them.
And they're just banging on the door. And they all know they're going to die. And then all of a sudden you hear like, it's kind of I like the music in Mandalorian has been amazing too, because they don't use the straight Force song, but they do like a variant of the Force song from Empire Strikes Back. And so you know it's somebody, it's a Jedi, right? And I mean, I knew immediately it was Luke Skywalker. I saw that X-Wing and I'm like, it's fucking Luke! And my wife kind of looks at me, she goes, you think? And my daughter, my oldest goes, Luke Skywalker? And my youngest looks at me and she goes, who's Luke Skywalker? I'm like, shut up! I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
And then and then Luke shows up and just massacres. I mean, it's literally the end scene from Rogue One with Darth Vader. I mean, they even showed panels where they mirrored the fights, like they do some of the same moves.
Yeah.
And I do love, on a side note, I know a lot of people saw that, and a lot of the Last Jedi haters saw that and was like, see, this is the real Luke Skywalker. They're totally retconning Last Jedi. I'm like, no, I believe that Jedi becomes that Jedi in The Last Jedi. I mean, Luke Skywalker just didn't like cut through him because he needed to. He was like enjoying himself. Like he was like that last one when he crushes it like this.
He was just like if he wasn't like chopping off a head and like kicking it with his foot for like shits and giggles. I mean,
that's a guy who introduces himself as Luke motherfucking Skywalker.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can see the sky. I do love how this show, even with Ahsoka, when she was kind of going, I think we talked about it on the show before, when Ahsoka was going through the fog, like it was such an Anakin Skywalker thing that she would do. She would disappear and then show up with, and just be kind of menacing. I love that that Luke is, I mean, like you watch this and you're like, oh yeah, that's Darth Vader's kid. Yeah, I could definitely see that, The hubris of Luke Skywalker, the Skywalker blood, the Skywalker family has a trait, and it's just, we're badasses, and we know we're badasses. And we fall real hard when we do, right? So, but I mean,
it's hard to see because in the original movies, like Luke is still trying to figure out his stuff, and now he's had like 10, 15 years of like.
So Mandalorian 7 years after Return of the Jedi, so he's got solid 7 years.
7 years is a long time to figure out your shit.
Yeah, he's clearly a Jedi master at this point, and I mean, listen, if we never see Luke Skywalker again. I was a little surprised that they didn't recast. That kind of tells me they're not planning on doing any kind of Luke Skywalker show or anything like that. And for anybody who was wondering, that was actually Mark Hamill. I mean, he wasn't doing all the flips and lightsabers, but at the end when he gets Grogu, that was him, and they de-aged him. Which, you know what? I've seen better. I've seen worse. I didn't really care. Whatever. I mean, it looked it looked just as good as the Leia de-aging they did in Rogue One. So I mean, I was like, whatever.
It's fine. If you're a fan of Star Wars, you're able to suspend belief just a little bit.
Suspend disbelief on that. But
although Mando not like asking like who he was or where he was taking him, or if he can like send like a message, to see
I'm pretty sure. Wouldn't Cara Dune know who that is? I mean, she was in the freaking Rebel Alliance, so I'm pretty sure she knows who Luke Skywalker is. I'm sure Bo-Katan. They probably all know who Luke Skywalker is. I mean, but yes, to your point, he didn't even ask him his name. He's like, oh, you're a Jedi? You just go with him.
You're like, you're Luke Skywalker, right?
But to be fair, does it matter? Because if he's like, hey, the kid's coming with me, what are you gonna stop him? You just watch him murder all these robots. You guys are totally dead.
He got a Darksaber.
He would, dude, Din Djarin would die immediately. But yeah, and then of course I did the, honorary, I got tears, and I welled up a little bit when he took his helmet off for Grogu, and Grogu put his little 3-fingered paw on his face. It was cute. But, dude, it was amazing. I loved it. When I was done, I kind of tweeted out, like, this is why I love Star Wars, because everybody, me, my wife, my 2 daughters, all of us were sitting, and they don't even like Star Wars nearly as much as I do, and we all just enjoyed this moment. We were all just like, you couldn't pull our faces away from the TV. It was just magical. And to me, that's what Star Wars is, right? When you get that feeling of magic, or it makes you just like, oh my God, I just watched something that was special, and it made me feel like a kid, right? Made me feel like when I watched Return of the Jedi as a kid. Maybe that's why I like The Last Jedi, and I like all Star Wars movies. When I watch Solo do the Kessel Run, Han Solo and Solo, I don't care that like that's not Harrison Ford. It makes me happy, and it makes me feel like a kid again, and that's why I love Star Wars, man. And The Mandalorian is they are nailing it with their TV shows. I mean, I guess they only have one, but
I'm looking forward to see what they do next. I really kind of want. I think they're going to do a lot more of Bo-Katan and like lore and trying to like rebuild the depths. I think he's going to try and rebuild whatever she said that his sect is, because she said, you're a
Death
part
Watch
of
or whatever.
One
well, I don't. Like I said, they're
like some others.
I think Katie Sackhoff, Bo-Katan, is going to be a major character in season 2. I'm with you. I think it might, instead of being an episode of the week, it might end up being more of one large story for season 3. But we'll see. But I don't know. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for all the properties. I'm excited for the new movies. I am excited for literally everything Star Wars. It cannot get here fast enough. Just inject it into my veins. Just streamline that shit right here. And then by the way, they give us Luke Skywalker. That can be enough, but no, Disney's like, oh, we got you. Here you go, RTD2 too. And I was just like, I visibly gasped. My wife just kind of smiled at me because I go, I'm like, oh, it's R2. I love R2. I was like, it's R2D2.
They got the 2 biggest cash cows sitting right there.
Dude, just printing that money, man, just like that. So real quick, since we're talking about Disney Plus TV shows, we don't talk a lot about it because I know it hasn't finished yet, and I don't want to judge it too harshly before we finish it. But I want to talk a quick second about WandaVision. That is the other big show that is kind of on people's minds a little bit. I think for maybe not the wrong reasons, but I think the excitement for WandaVision is definitely not what we had with Mandalorian. People were really excited for it, and now everyone's scratching their head saying, what the fuck are we watching?
So have you watched the first 3?
Yes, I've watched the first 3. So if you haven't watched the first 3 of WandaVision, slight spoilers. I don't think we're going to... I'm not going to go into detail. I just...
I've the first 2. Because my family, I think, was a little more disinterested to watch episode 3. Because we watched the first 2 the night that it came out. We got pizza and we all sat around and watched it because we all got super. They rewatched or they watched for the first time every single Marvel movie like a year or so ago.
Yeah.
So leading up to Endgame, so they. The rest of my family is still fairly new to the Marvel universe, so they were super excited for this.
They're probably like, "What?"
My kids are like.
Yeah, I don't think Disney intended on... I mean, they clearly didn't intend on leading with this one. This show just got done first, so this is the one they released. The first show was supposed to be Falcon and Winter Soldier, which, if you look at the trailers of that one, that seems much more in line with what Marvel normally does, more like kind of a big-budget Marvel property. This one, they definitely are taking a big swing. Now, to be fair to Marvel, they're doing exactly what they said they were doing. It was going to be a sitcom of the week, Wanda and Vision show, and that's kind of what it is. But I think here's the problem that I'm having with the show. I fully am invested in it. I'm fully going to watch it to the end. I'm sure it's going to be all make sense and be great by the end. But the first 3 episodes have given you no reason that you should come back and watch it other than who Wanda and Vision are. Like, if you don't know anything about Marvel Universe at all, if you watch these first 3 episodes, I guess you could say that about a lot of things, but let's say you just loosely follow Marvel, you like the Avenger movies, and you watch this, you're just like, I don't know what's happening. Us nerds kind of have an idea because we've read enough comic books or we've done enough deep dives that we know how these stories kind of tend to unfold a little bit, and we know how Wanda's power structure works and how, but to the average person, like, this show has told us nothing about you don't know any of the characters' motivations. We have no idea what's going on at all. Yeah. And to be honest with you, like, the acting and stuff is really good, but the sitcom stuff doesn't really land the way it's supposed to. So sitcoms, I grew up on old-fashioned sitcoms, and there's a structure to them, a way that the jokes land and the way that they build it up. But they don't really do that in these. So you end up with 3 episodes that are trying to pretend to be something else. They don't quite land it, and since there's not enough Marvel stuff in it to really keep you interested, you're just kind of just watching to see if anything happens at this point.
Yeah, and trying to figure out like what these like when the guy comes out of the sewer in the bee costume, and you're trying to figure out like, okay, what does that mean? And especially for my kids who I mean, they obviously do not have like a deep knowledge of Marvel, and they're not going to catch like a logo or anything like that.
Well, something I won't tell you what, but something obviously kind of big happens at the end of episode 3 that kind of ties it back into the Marvel universe a little bit. And I'm starting to think that maybe they should have. This might be a show that they might have been better off dropping in 3-episode increments. Yeah. You know, I don't know if the Marvel way they're going to make shows. You know, if they're trying to do basically 3.5-hour movies, I don't know if they can release it like a week to week. The Mandalorian worked because it had each episode had its own story that you were interested in, that had big moments in it, and then they all tied into one big story, right?
Yeah.
WandaVision isn't. That's what they're trying to do, but it's not really working because you need all 3 of the first episodes to make that first little chapter in this story make sense. And so by dishing it out in increments of 20 minutes, it's just I don't know. We'll see how the rest goes, and you know, and this is their first chance. I mean, they're gonna have. I'm sure they'll change it as they go, but you know, whatever works best. But if they're gonna do it in movies, they may have to deal this out in chapters instead of pieces, chunks, right?
Yeah, I think a chapter format might be a little better if they're trying to introduce some more of the deep Marvel lore.
Yeah.
With these shows that we're probably going to get a lot more of like the deep dive stuff, but it's going to come at for new viewers. They're just going to be it's either going to go over their heads completely,
yeah,
or they're just going to catch it. And that's kind of what's happened so far with my kids with WandaVision. They're interested, but I think we're just gonna wait till we can build up some more episodes and then just try to like get them all through at once.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably keep watching week to week.
They're just not into it week to week. So
yeah, I feel like this is going to be to your point, I think it's going to be a much more popular show when it's all said and done. I think when people can because most of the people I've talked to have kind of just given up trying to figure it out and just decided they're going to wait till it's all out and then binge watch it, right? So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think Marvel will be successful with these shows, and I don't think the show's bad by any means. It's just kind of boring, to be honest with you, right now. And they need to get to it a little bit. So we'll see. Another thing I want
boring, Brian. Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah, would you say it was boring?
Was not boring.
Oh, okay. I didn't know where you stood. So we won't spend a lot of time with this because it's been out for a month and not all the takes have been had. But I'm going to say I really enjoyed Wonder Woman. I really went at it with a lot of people who talked about Wonder Woman 84 like it's literally the worst thing they've ever seen. And I'm like, what are we talking about here? I mean, it's not... Listen, is it a good movie? I mean...
It's all right.
Is it a movie that I thought was amazing that I got to sit and watch at home for free? Yes, it was great.
Did you have to go into a COVID movie theater to watch it? No. So you got to watch it at home.
It is the best free movie I've ever seen. I was like, this is great. I cranked up the Dolby Atmos. I had all the lights off. We made it a movie night. We had popcorn. We had what we call movie rules where you can't be on your phone or anything. And we enjoyed it. I liked that the movie was just a fun, cheesy, like from the very get-go, they're like, this is going to be an homage to the 70s TV show. It is going to be corny. It is going to be goofy. And I was like, okay, I was here for it. I liked it. I mean, not everything worked. And it was definitely really long. If I was in the theater, I might have been like looking at my watch at one point. But I mean, at home, it was nice. We could pause it a couple times. You could go to the bathroom. You could get a snack. You come back.
Yeah.
I thought it worked really
good. I don't understand why a lot of people were panning it. It was a perfectly fine movie. Yeah. It wasn't as good as the first one. No, it wasn't.
To me, it was as good as Aquaman or any of the DC movies. It's as good as any of those movies we've seen. Whatever.
You got to watch Wonder Woman kick people's asses, and she never like held back or anything. So
when I talked to a few people, the biggest issue I heard with a lot of people, and I can understand this, you know, Wonder Woman was their favorite character, like movie character growing up. They just loved they loved the first movie, and I think a lot of people thought that this movie was going to take the Winter Soldier leap, you know, where Captain America 1 was great, but the Winter Soldier just blew your mind, right? And I think people expected that with Wonder Woman. And they didn't get that. This movie went a different direction. They tried something completely different. They said, hey, we're going to set it in the 80s. We're going to make it colorful. We're going to make it campy. We're just going to have fun with it. And I don't think people wanted that. And so I think it just disappointed them. Plus also it's literally the only movie we got this year. It's the only movie we got. So I think everybody last year, everyone pinned their COVID disappointment on the hopes that Wonder Woman 84 was going to be amazing, and it just didn't live up to that kind of hype.
Well, I mean, it was an interesting bad guy.
I liked him. I think maybe people were mad because he was a little too close to Donald Trump in some ways.
Interesting concept, though.
I thought it was cool. I liked how cheesy he was and overacting.
Because you always you get the wish it, you get one wish. Well, I wish for a million wishes. Yeah. No, he just wishes to become the thing.
Yeah,
so he could grant wishes, and then for the monkey paw twist thing, he gets to just wrench it however he wants. That's not a bad idea.
I thought it was cool. And for all the people who want to talk shit about, so we're going to do magic stones that have no rules and could do whatever you want to. I was like, yeah, I know. How cheesy that they copied the fucking Avengers. I mean, literally, don't talk to me about magic stones is a bad idea. We all spent $2 billion watching Endgame, which is about a dude with magic fucking stones and no rules. He can do whatever he wants to. But everyone's like, ooh, we like Thor, so yeah.
Together, a fist.
Robert Downey Jr. is my hero, so sure, do whatever you want to. Listen, if we start picking apart comic book movies, they all fall apart. They're all bad. Every last one of them are bad movies. Let's be honest. We just really enjoy the characters, so we just ignore all the things that don't make any sense. Seriously, do you even remember the in-game time travel? It makes no sense at all, period.
Endgame was on the TV the other day, and it happened to be just after all the time travel stuff leading up to the big fight. And so we were like, all right, we just watched that. The very end. And
because you like it, you're just like, okay, sure, I'll just go with it, right? And listen, I'm not saying Wonder Woman is the Avengers. I mean, those movies are amazing. Marvel spent a lot of time getting us to where we got, but I just don't understand the hate.
Kristen Wiig? I thought she was all right.
Yeah, Kristen Wiig was great. I don't have anything real bad to say about the movie. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I liked it. I thought it was cheesy. I can't wait to watch it again. Was it perfect? No. Was it really long? Yes. But fuck it, who cares? I actually even kind of like that Wonder Woman, the ending, the way the movie ended was it asked people to be better. She said, listen, I can't punch everyone to make them good people.
That's a big ask.
She's
humanity.
I want you to be a better person. And I think everyone sitting at home is like, fuck you. Don't you tell me to be a better person. I hate this movie. But
so are you saying you're the one that would have told your wife that you wish she was dead, and then she dies right there?
She dies right there. I thought some of those were funny. And you know what? I don't care if anybody says the Chris Pine fanny pack joke to me was, I laughed. I know
that was good.
It was dumb, but I don't care. I thought it was hilarious. But all right, moving on. Shit, how the hell are we already 40 minutes into this? Okay, so
I don't know.
Let's see. We got questions so we got. What do you want to do? Do you want to talk about the Kong trailer? Do you want to talk about the GameStop thing, or do you just want to get into questions?
You know what? Let's get into questions because we have 4 really good ones.
Okay. So what I'll say is Kong versus Skull Island, everybody. If you haven't checked out the trailer, Kong versus Skull Island, Kong versus Godzilla. If you have not seen the trailer, we highly recommend you check it out. It's coming to HBO Max in March. I think it's going to be awesome. And then GameStop. If anybody's asking what's going on with GameStop, me and Ryan thought about trying to explain about big shorts and shorting and stocks and what's happening, but that could literally take up the entire show. And you might still not understand what's happening. Just know that a lot of people figured out a way to game the system, which is something a lot of people on Wall Street do every day. But this time it's costing a lot of the people on Wall Street a lot of money.
Yeah, billions of dollars. But the thing is, don't buy into it right now because it's like $300 and something per share. So it's kind of at the top now. So if you were wanting to get in on this whole let's make a shitload of money and stick it to a bunch of rich people, you missed the boat. So
yeah, you would have needed to be on a Reddit thread and then done it with them. So don't start buying $300 shares of GameStop. It's not worth $300. But anyway, all right, questions. What do we got? So we figured since it's been a while and we've had a lot on our minds, we would throw up a question post. I know we haven't done this in a while. We want to get back to doing this. Hopefully, me and Ryan will have more of a regular show here going forward. One of the things we love the most about that we're going to carry over to whatever our new show is going to be is the Q&A section, because that's where we get to connect to everybody. And you guys always give us some great questions. So what do we have tonight, Ryan? What do we got?
So we have Brian Curtis. His first question is,
great name.
What Star Wars story do you want to be told either in a movie or on Disney Plus that hasn't been done yet?
Ooh.
Now, Brian is going to probably go through, he could probably sit there for 2 hours and do this. So I'll let you simmer down and just focus on one thing, Brian.
No, I've got 3.
3.
All right.
And I'm just going to say I would like to see a Sarlacc pit, of all the stuff that falls into the Sarlacc pit. That's cool. What I want to see.
I would so the first one I would like to see a movie or a show. I'm not going to say movie or show. I'm just going to say what I'd like to see. I don't care if it's a movie or a show for any of these. I would like to see more. I would like to see more movies with Rey. I would actually like to see. I'd like to see a series or a movie set. I'd like to see Finn become a Jedi. To be honest with you, they really set that thread up in Rise of Skywalker, and I would like to see maybe a Finn movie where Rey mentors him. Maybe she's not even a main character. Maybe she's a supporting character. But I would like to see Finn's journey to becoming a Jedi. I think that'd be a really cool story. An ex-stormtrooper. One of my things I didn't like about the new trilogy was I thought they had some really good ideas with some of these characters like Finn, and they just never really got them to their end point. Right? They kind of took them on a journey, and they didn't quite get there. So I'd like to see more of that. And I love Rey. I'd like to see more of... We always see these characters building up to where they become badasses, but then we never get to see them actually become badasses. So,
yeah.
I'd love to see...
We never got to see Yoda in his prime. We never got to see Luke in his prime.
Yeah.
We never got to see...
we never got to see Vader in his prime. I mean, I guess Clone Wars, kind of, but...
Yeah.
So... But I really like the sequel trilogy. I like the characters in the sequel trilogy. I'd like to see more of them. I wouldn't mind seeing an animated Luke Skywalker show. I would love to see the next Clone Wars type show be about Luke training his next Jedis. You could bring in Mark Hamill to voice Luke Skywalker. You could bring in Kylo at the end of that. There's a lot you could do with it. You could tell really cool stories in the middle. You could flesh out that middle ground, kind of the way that Clone Wars did with the prequels. I think there's some really cool stories.
Kind of sad. Would it be kind of sad to have a Luke Skywalker creating the new Jedi Order, if you know how it ends, and so you get invested with all these?
Not necessarily, because you could spin. There's a million other stories you could spin out of that, right? You could. Just because you know how something ends.
Grogu is first student.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we know how lots of things end sometimes in movies, and they still can be really interesting. So, I mean, come on, we all knew Frodo was going to throw that goddamn ring into the Mount fucking volcano, but we still watched him do it, right? I mean, let's be honest. So, I mean, the journey is the important thing. I just think it'd be cool to flesh it out. You could give us some, you can give us some more Luke Skywalker, but you wouldn't have to bring back the actors. You wouldn't have to recast. You could just give us a really cool animated series. And then I really want to see Knights of the Old Republic. I want them to go. I think the next series of movies should be set 1,000 years in the past, maybe 2,000 years in the past. Get them so far away from the Skywalker saga that you can tell whatever stories you want to, and you're not tied to any canon that you really have to do, right? You could bring in new villains, new Sith. You could have armies of Sith. You could have worlds of Siths.
You could have a whole planet of Yodas.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell us, and that's the point. You could tell so many stories. So, I mean, I think it'd be amazing to do that. You could reset the universe a little bit. You can let all the Skywalker stuff slow down while you're telling more stories on TV stuff. And then after that, you can go in after Skywalker, or you could go to the unknown regions. I mean, Star Wars is such a big universe, but I would love to see. I think the best step forward right now is going into the past, setting up the Jedi versus the Sith. You could just create what you have a blank check. You could tie it all together by, like you said, having planets of Yodas. Maybe the Legend of the Chosen One. This is where we first hear about it, right? I mean, just anything you could do. There's so much stories, and if you've ever played the games, that lore is so rich there. And you don't have to follow the games, but you could just kind of use them as kind of your blueprint, and then just make whatever stories you want to. And I just think, if there's a million spinoffs, there's a million things you could do. I just think that'd be the way to go. I'd love to see that. I think it'd be really cool.
I think for Disney Plus, I'm going to change mine too. I want to see Darth Vader right after Revenge of the Sith.
I would also take that.
I want to see him just developing that.
Listen, I'm really excited for the Obi-Wan series, and I'm sure we're going to get... The reason why I didn't list any of that stuff is because I'm sure we're going to get a million of these. I heard Jar Jar Binks is coming back for the Obi-Wan show, so, all the characters we know and love, we're going to get more of their stories. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you,
Brian.
Well, let's see. Now we have our next question is coming from Eric Grella, and he said, "I don't have any stock tips, but I would say to invest in sports cards. Right now, the hobby is booming and very lucrative." Brian, do you still have any of your sports cards from when you were a kid?
I do. I've got up in my closet. I've got a shoebox full of old cards. I still got some Ken Griffey Jr. rookies. I don't have any Jordan rookies, but I got like a couple second-year Jordan cards. I got some Shaquille.
I got a Bubba Smith.
Ooh,
remember Bubba Smith?
Yeah, I got some Joe Montana cards.
See, I got a couple of my Marvel cards that were like the gold foil ones. Worth like $100 at the time. They're probably worth like 10 cents now. But see, I got a King Griffey Jr. I think every kid in Seattle at least has a King Griffey Jr. card. Not his rookie card, but just a card.
I got his rookie card.
And I just got a bunch of like Steelers players and stuff like that. I got old Tupperware containers.
Those are clearly worthless.
But I had at one point. So I used to get like for Christmas I would get like the big huge like full set. You know, like the Topps baseball deck. And when we were moving from our old house, my mom threw away all my cards. And I had like boxes from like 1990 to like, or 1985 through like 1995 or something. And I had, it's all gone. So the only stuff I have is just what's in my little Tupperware container.
Yeah, I got rid of a lot of stuff a long time ago, but everything I have now, I just decided I'm going to keep in boxes, and in about 20 years I'll pull them out, and if they're worth anything, I'll sell them and try to retire. I've got cases of comic books, too. Eric, I get what you're saying. The collector's market is definitely starting to back up again. I just don't have the time or energy to go through all my stuff and rate it. Because like comic books now, if you want to sell them, you have to send them to a company where they rate them. They rate them and they stick them in these little things, and that's the only way you can really sell them for any money. And I'm just like, ugh, I ain't got any time for that.
Yeah, everything gotta get like has to have a rating. Gotta be like in a big, huge, thick, thing to keep it pristine.
Yeah.
You're not like holding the actual cards or anything anymore. You're just like
these hard cases that you can't even open. Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah. Well. All right. Well, thank you, Eric. Hopefully, you're making lots of money selling baseball cards.
Or football cards.
Or even basketball cards. Probably none of that foosball, but
Which one do you think probably not? I don't know. Do they have soccer? Sure they got soccer.
God, I hope not.
No. Alright. Moving on. Jeff Alden, who is might make a special appearance.
Yeah, he might guest spot on the show. We're talking about it.
You guys might get a little bit of Jeff on the next episode.
Or maybe you might even get the full Terminator. We'll see.
Nice. We're going to have to make sure Jeff knows about, that whole thing. What's expected of him.
It'd be a real shock for him if he doesn't know. We go full Terminator.
Yeah.
All right.
he's gonna have to be in the background somewhere. But his question is successful. Do you think Godzilla versus Kong could bring back the Versus movies? So like, see, what would other Versus one?
I don't know. Mortal Kombat's coming out. I guess that's kind of a Versus, but I don't know. Everyone shit on the Versus. Batman versus Superman, Alien versus Predator, even Civil War. I mean, I don't know. I guess they didn't put Versus in the title. I don't think so.
With the monster movies, because you're just watching big monsters beat the crap out of each other, and then the humans can just be, they're just, trying to.
Listen, yes and no. I don't think Versus movies are ever going away. I just don't think they're going to say Versus anymore in the title.
like a Pacific Rim, would you say that would be more like a Versus movie? Because you do got the big giant robot against kaiju.
Pacific Rim is robots versus monsters is really what it is.
Yeah. I guess they could do like a Aliens
versus Predator. Yeah, no. Honestly, I think the Versus is dead. I think we're still going to get Versus movies, but they'll just call it like Alien Predator Grudge Match or something.
I think the Versus movies are only going to survive in the big monster movie universe.
Yeah, probably.
Godzilla's versus Mothra.
Dude, after the endless beating that Batman v Superman took, I don't think that there'll never be another superhero movie with that in its title. I'll tell you that. But I'm excited for Kong versus Godzilla.
Somebody did say that for Godzilla versus Kong. Let's just hope that they both don't realize they know Mothra.
Yeah. Let's hope their mom's name isn't Mothra. Yeah. Whatever. Watch the director's cut. The Martha moment's not stupid when you watch the director's cut. All right. Thanks, Jeff.
All right. Last question comes from Christine Murray, who's another one of our very good question askers. Her son had a question. Mm-hmm. Why was it not scrolling down?
Her son's question, I read this one, so I remember. I know it.
Went in a race: the Sonic the Hedgehog or the Flash? And
so hang on, before we get, what are the grounds? Are we going to go, which Flash? Are we going to go OG, Barry Allen? Or are we going to go Wally Walker? Or what are we doing? Or Wally West?
Let's go with the OG.
All right, Barry Allen versus Sonic the Hedgehog.
All right, so Sonic the Hedgehog is not collecting rings.
So we're talking like a straight up race?
I think I think she means that's probably a straight up race. That seems like how a kid would ask that question.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a straight up race, I'm gonna say the Flash, because the Flash can run so fast he can rip time and space.
Yeah. And Sonic has to find loops and stuff to gain speed. So if they're just doing a straight out track, I don't think Sonic's got enough of the.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if Sonic is able to use his rings, I mean, I guess he's not faster. He would win more races because he could just teleport himself to the end.
Yeah, that's true. He does have that ability.
So, I mean, if we're talking raw speed, the Flash can literally run backwards and forwards in time. He's so fast. So, I'm going to say the Flash, but. Sonic would win the race if they were racing, if he was able to use his rings, his trickery.
I'm gonna say the Flash is the fastest, and if they have to collect things along the way.
Yes, if they have to do a task like a triathlon.
Yeah, if you have to get some pizza slices and stuff as you're going by, I think Sonic might have the advantage.
Well, because Sonic is very focused on his rings and his tasks, where the Flash would be like, oh, did somebody call for help? He would have to run off and help somebody, and he eats all the time because he's super hungry, so the Flash, like you said, would stop and eat pizza all day. He would be very easily distracted, where Sonic is like, I'm all about these rings, and he would just be able to do his task and go on. So
going to restores.
So if it's a straight 100-meter relay or just dash, the Flash is going to win. However,
did you watch the Sonic movie that came out?
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it for the most part. I mean, he's dumb, but
I never got around to watching it. I know they changed the CGI and stuff on it.
Yeah, it's worth a watch. It's dumb, but it's fun. It reminds me kind of those movies you grew up on, kind of the silly PG kid movies. Jim Carrey's hilarious as Mr. Robotnik, though. He's good.
Yeah.
He was good as Mr. Robotnik.
So, Chris, we're both going to say, you can tell your son the Flash.
Flash. So hopefully he's not a huge Sonic fan. I'm just going to crush his dreams there. But all right, well, that is it. All right, well, I think that's it for the show tonight, unless you got something else you want to
add. No, I just want everyone to stay safe, wear a mask, wear 2 masks if you can.
Or an N95 or a K95. You can order them on Amazon. Just make sure, just Google them and make sure there's an FDA-approved list of masks so that way you're not getting fakes. But I think on Amazon I got a 20 KN95s for $40. So they're a little spendy, but they're not too bad, and they definitely provide a lot more protection than just an average cloth mask. So
we definitely want everyone to stay safe, so that when we do get at least bi-weekly, you guys are all here to listen to us and engage with and watch us, and we just want you guys to be a little bit entertained.
Yes.
So that's all we hope for.
That's all we hope for. We just want to put, like I always say, we're just here to put a little smile on all your beautiful faces. So thanks for watching with us. Until next time, everyone, stay awesome.
And stay nerdy, everyone.
And like Ryan said, stay safe. So until next time.